UFC Abu Dhabi, Cory Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm going to be going through my picks, mostly my main card picks. I've seen the prelims. They're kind of add to me. They're not bad prelims, but I just really want to go over picks I'm very comfortable with picking. And most of the main card, I feel like I'm going to go 100%. So if you want to win some money or you just want to listen to some picks that are going to end up being 100% true, you came to the right video. So let's get into the main card picks and let me show you guys how to win some money. First fight to start off the main card is actually a really good competitive fight. And I like this fight. It's probably going to be fight of the night or someone's going to get a bonus from this. We got Joel Alvarez and we got Elves Brener. These are two great fighters. And Alvarez's last 5 fights, his only loss is Umar Sarukian. It came from knockout. So he's not like he's losing a bad competition. So I'm not mad at Alvarez only loss being Umar Sarukian in his last 5 because I feel like Umar Sarukian is a level competitor. As well as though Brener's only lost in his last 4 because he's been undefeated in the UFC until he faced Orobai. You guys know how I feel about Orobai. He's great, bro. He has great wrestling, great pressure. I just like Orobai. But even then, that was Orobai's hardest fight. He made Orobai work for the wrestling exchanges, the grappling, and he even had Orobai on his back at some of that fight. So Elves Brener is really good. When I look at this stylistic matchup, I feel like Brener has more tools that he can use. I feel like Alvarez is very scrappy on the feet. He likes to throw hands a lot, but I feel like Brener has a deeper bag. I feel like they both can strike. If they want to make it a firefight, and they could probably have a firefight for 3 rounds straight and be just a barn burner, or Brener can mix in his wrestling a little bit as well as utilizing his striking. So I feel like Brener is going to be harder to beat than Alvarez. I'm not saying Alvarez is chinny, but Brener does have some serious power, so he could be the guy to put away Alvarez. So this fight's most likely going to end by finish or it's going to end by decision. But as for my official pick, I am going to lean towards Elves Brener, and I think he's going to win by either KO or decision. So if you're smart, bro, do double chance and go KO or decision for Brener. I just feel like Alvarez, like he has had his chin susceptible, you know, and I feel like Brener, with all the power he carries, can't be the guy to put him away. And if Brener really wanted to, he could utilize his wrestling and take him to decision. So I feel like Brener should win, like, comfortably. I'm pretty confident in this pick. However, Joe Alvarez is just like always game, so it's always going to be a fun fight no matter which way you slice the cake, but I'm definitely going to go Elves Brener. Next fight, we got ladies, Mackenzie Dern versus Loopy Godinez. I feel like they're both good fighters. I feel like Mackenzie Dern is really good. Her grappling especially is very impressive. Loopy Godinez only loss recently was against Roses Jr.'s second cousins. It was a hard fight to win for her. Like, very good grappling, but Godinez wasn't going down without a fight. She gave Gainaroba a good fight though. And Gainaroba usually goes in there and just out wrestles people and outworks them. She didn't get submitted, so Godinez had a good submission defense. And I know Mackenzie Dern is also a grappler, so it's going to be one of those things, can Godinez deal with grapplers? And I think she can. I just think that Werner's on a different level of grappling than Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern's striking as well is very sloppy. Like, she kind of blitzes in, and when she's getting beat up brutally, she tends to just like blindlessly shoot in for her takedowns, or she tries to fall into the illusion that she could actually strike with these people and she ends up getting hurt. So I feel like Godinez going to be beating the brakes out of Mackenzie Dern, like, unfortunately. I feel like Mackenzie Dern's going to get desperate, maybe shoot for a telegraph takedown, might even get TKO'd, but Mackenzie Dern is tough, so I feel like the fight is going to go to decision. Most women's fights go to decision, so I'm probably going to have, for my official pick, Godinez by decision. I just see her battering Mackenzie Dern. I feel like Mackenzie Dern's going to get outclassed on the feet. Mackenzie Dern against Lemos, she was getting battered on the feet and she was like barely scoring any takedowns. Like, it was a bad fight for her. So I feel like the same thing would kind of happen here. I really feel like Godinez is a really good women's fighter. She's actually one of the best. And I feel like people don't respect her enough. And I feel like this fight's going to be a good fight for her. She beats Mackenzie Dern pretty convincingly. Next up, we got Tony Ferguson and Michael Chiesa, the battle of the losing streaks. 3-fight losing streak versus 7-fight losing streak. Yeah, these guys know how to lose, dude. But it's like before their losing streak, they were riding some decent win streaks, Tony especially. But even though I feel like Tony's win streak is a little bit always overrated for me. But yeah, it's like one of those fights, dude, you kind of expect and you know what's going to happen. Obviously, Chiesa's going to win. I feel like people should know this. If you're a Tony fan and you expect me to say something that make you happy, bro, you came to the wrong channel. I just keep it real over here. So when I see the way he trains and the way he acts, like, I believe that he still thinks he has it, but like, he hasn't been looking good in any of his last fights. Like, I haven't seen a spurt of like decency in all his last fights. He keeps getting battered in every fight, dude. And it's like, I just feel like he's not moving the way he used to. And I feel like I just don't want to see him take this much damage anymore. But I think he loves taking damage and he's a sucker for like getting beat up. And I feel like this is going to be a fight that's going to get him beat up again. Chiesa's not even great, bro. Chiesa's been riding, like I said, 3-fight losing streak. He hasn't been looking good in his recent performances. But to be fair to him, I feel like losing to like Holland and like Luque by submission isn't horrible, you know. And then Sean Brady beat him by UD, but I think Sean Brady's really good. I feel like people don't respect Sean Brady. Whereas that, like, Tony Ferguson's getting embarrassed by everyone, like Patty Pimblett, Bobby Green, Nate Diaz. Doesn't matter who you are. Michael Chandler put him to an oblivion. Doesn't matter who you are. You're probably going to embarrass him or like beat him pretty brutally or just beat him over the course of the fight. So It's not that Michael Chiesa is great. It's just that Tony Ferguson is not good. So my official prediction is Michael Chiesa via submission or decision. So I'm going to go double chance with that one. I feel like it could go either way. But no matter what way you slice the cake, Michael Chiesa is going to win. So, like, do not put Tony Ferguson on a parlay or something hoping it's going to hit, because he's going to be the guy to destroy it for you. I'm so sorry. Next up, we got an actual good fight between Chito, Vera, and Figgy. When I say good fight, I mean good fight name value-wise, but, like, when I look at both guys' resume, bro, Chito Vera is not bad, but, like, he is overrated into a sense. You guys just got to realize that. Every time he goes against a legit competitor, he doesn't have close fights with him. It's not coincidental. Like, yes, he finished Dominic Cruz after losing the whole way up. Yes, he finished Ricky Edgar after losing the entire fight. But when he goes against good competition, like Sugar Sean O'Malley, he's getting battered in one-sided fashion. Cory Sandhagen battered in one-sided fashion. Like, when he goes against good comp, they're not close fights. Of course, Chito had a great victory against Rob Font, but so did his opponent, Figgy. Figgy utilized wrestling, which is something I feel like Chito will struggle with in the fight with Figgy. As well as Figgy beat the Cody Garbrandt, riding a 2-fight win streak. So he didn't just beat like a washed Cody. People try to make it seem like Cody was horrible. Nah, Cody was pretty good. Looked like Cody was starting to find his second prime or whatever, and then he got stopped by Figgy. So it just shows how good Figgy is. The big what if for me, before Figgy went to the weight class, was like, could his strength transfer and could his power and his wrestling transfer? And I think it has transferred pretty well. You know, he hit Rob Font with some good shots, out-wrestled Rob Font, and he hit Cody Garbrandt with some heavy shots as well. So I feel like his power is going to transfer. And Chito's just a slower starter than Figgy. And Figgy's not even known for a great quick start. But, like, Figgy will try to back you into the fence. And I just see, like, Chito being on the back foot trying to snipe him, while Figgy just overwhelms him with volume and wrestling attempts and constantly stuff takedowns. So I feel like Figgy's going to win very comfortably. If I had to pick, I think it's going to be decision, because I feel like Chito's pretty tough. And I feel like it's hard to, like, submit Chito as well. But, yeah, I think Figgy wins by decision. Just utilizing his wrestling, out-wrestling him, out-working him. Pretty comfortable win for Figgy. All right, now we're at the co-main. Shara Bullet Magomedov versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. And I feel like this fight is going to be an interesting fight for Shara. I do think Michal's a step up in competition. I feel like, yes, Shara is beating some good people. And Shara has shown some deficiencies in wrestling. Oleksiejczuk, it doesn't look like the type to shoot too much or too often in a fight, but he's not opposed to doing so. I'm sure he's going to be shooting a lot in this Shara fight. But I feel like on the feet, it's going to be a little bit too one-sided. I feel like Shara has good kicks at keeping his distance very well. He has good power in his kicks as well. And but I just hope to see something developed from Shara, because it looks like he relies a lot on his kicking game plan and just to, like, keep his opponents at bay almost with the kicks and stuff. But I feel like he needs to implement more boxing. When he implemented boxing in his last fight, that's when he started rocking the dude. The guy was also like 6'5" in his last fight. So the height difference was very hard and challenging for Shara, you could tell. But now he's fighting someone a little bit more his size, which is going to make the fight a lot easier for him. But I feel like every time he was doing some straight punches, he was landing more significantly. So I feel like he needs to fall in love with straight punches again. I feel like he needs to set up with his leg kicks, and I feel like he'd be virtually unbeatable against Michal Oleksiejczuk. But until then, I don't really know, bro. Like, I just want to see his wrestling defense improve, because I know Michal's going to shoot. And it's a matter of, can he stuff the takedowns appropriately, or is he going to get smothered and not wrestled and not worked? I don't know. But I'm hoping for improvement in his wrestling and all the above. Yeah, I do think Shara Bullet should win pretty comfortably. I can't see him winning by knockout. So I think my official prediction, though, is going to be Shara Bullet by knockout. Michael is tough enough to take the shots, which I doubt he would be. It's probably going to go the distance. But other than that, I really don't think he's tough enough to take the shots from Shara. I feel like Shara does have good power when needed, so he could get the TKO or finish. So, yeah, definitely Shara Bullet is definitely going to win this fight 100%. In the main event of the evening, Umar Nurmagomedov and Cory Sandhagen. This fight is a big test for both fighters. It's a bigger test for Umar than I believe it is for Cory, because Umar hasn't really went in there with those who's yet. This reminds me of like when Islam Makhachev went straight to the title after fighting, I believe it was like a Bobby Green or something. Going for the title from those competitions to like a higher jump, like a Charles Oliveira. This is kind of what Umar is doing. His last fight, not really against a known Kazakhstani, but he gave Umar a good fight. He even showed Umar some adversity, dropping him. However, you know, Umar recovered very well. Umar didn't even look hurt when he got rocked. I know people like to point at that and be like, oh my God, Umar got rocked. He's going to get destroyed by all these other guys. No, he got dropped because he got caught, but he wasn't hurt. He wasn't dazed. He recovered really well, went into a takedown and scored off it. So, yeah, Umar, he's just like, he's like, for a young fighter, he's very smart and like intelligent. His body IQ is up there, and I feel like it's just because he's in Khabib's camp and all that, and he's been training with Khabib his whole life. They all have very good high fight IQ in that camp, in that area of the world. So I feel like his striking is also slept on. It's just very unorthodox to look at. I don't know if it's as good as Islam's, but I do think he's one of the better strikers in that entire camp. I feel like his striking is very nice. Like, he has good power with his striking. He has good timing on his striking. It's just the way he like defends. It looks a little bit sporadic, similar to Khabib. Like, Khabib's striking never looked good, but it's pretty much effective in most parts. But he is going against a dynamic striker like Cory Sandhagen, who like kind of jumps into stuff sometimes. And I feel like Umar, someone who likes to go in aggressively with his wrestling against someone who likes to jump into attacks, it could lead to a timing of a knee or like a timing of a jump into an elbow or something. So that's something Umar has to be ready for, but I'm sure he's going to be prepared for it. But yeah, that's a very dangerous thing that Umar could run into if he's trying to shoot for a double leg and then he just gets caught with a knee or something. Because Umar's the type to have some good open cage wrestling. Like a lot of Dagestanis like to use the cage. He doesn't really need the cage. He can secure a lot of takedowns in the open mat because his wrestling ability in general is like better than most people. His offensive wrestling is actually crazy. Like it's just his ability to keep control sometimes. He kind of struggles with it. Or I just want to give the Kazakhstani more credit. Maybe he's just really good at getting up. But like Umar's open cage wrestling is great, but it's just like he has to get more pressure and holding people down. And something that I noticed about Cory Sandhagen specifically is that he's fell in love with his wrestling his last couple fights. So all he kind of like, yes, he's been in the ring, he's been active, but his activity been more wrestling based. He obviously wrestled a lot against Rafa. He wrestled a lot against Chito Vera as well. Just like the fact that he's been wrestling a lot recently and now he's going against a wrestler. And I did see in some interviews that Cory Sandhagen saying like, I'm going to definitely wrestle. If the opportunity presents itself, I'm definitely going to wrestle. I'm a mixed martial artist. He's right. But I feel like he's falling into the illusion that he's an elite wrestler. Like Cory Sandhagen is a great wrestler. He's a very well-rounded fighter. But like there's going to be a significant difference in the wrestling this Saturday. I feel like Umar's going to have the heavy advantage over it because that's something he's been doing his whole life. Yes, you can pick up wrestling and like do it very well, but I just don't think Cory Sandhagen is at that level of like Umar Nurmagomedov. He might be a reactionary wrestler. When I say reactionary wrestler, I'm talking about like a Leon Edwards. If you haven't noticed, someone like Leon Edwards, when they get taken down, they get upset and they want to get the takedown back. I feel like when Umar scores and then Cory like actually does something good, makes it back up to his feet, he might make the mistake of reshooting into Umar Nurmagomedov. And it's going to lead to him getting stuffed and out scrambled, and then Umar's going to get back on top of him. I feel like the scramble is going to be a big part of this fight too. I feel like the scrambles are usually going to be won by Umar. So I feel like Umar in the wrestling department, grappling department has the whole advantage. Now, as far as the striking, I'll obviously lean towards Cory Sandhagen. But one thing Dagestanis do well is they do well applying enough pressure so they don't feel comfortable throwing the dynamic strikes that they want to throw. Like Cory Sandhagen's good. Like if you're giving Cory Sandhagen space and he's like bouncing back and forth and he's ready to explode, that's why he has those explosive attacks because he's getting so much space to do so. But what I think Umar's going to do, I think he's going to smother him. He's not going to let him have that space so he could get the chance to explode. He's going to be in his face all day. He's going to make the fight ugly. The crowd's not going to like the fight, I feel like, because how much pressure Umar's going to actually have on Cory. He's going to kind of negate that explosiveness, which is what he should be doing. He has Khabib in his corner, so I don't doubt Khabib's telling him the same thing I'm telling him as far as like, don't give him the space to, explode into those dynamic attacks and those dynamic striking styles. And I feel like Umar's going to implement the game plan really well. And I feel like he's going to go in there and just stop like the dynamicness of Cory Sandhagen. And it's going to be like a big wrestling back and forth, I feel like, in the fight. But I don't think it's going to be an easy win for either way or either or. But my official pick is going to lean towards Umar Nurmagomedov, and I think it's going to be by decision. I don't think he's going to submit Cory or finish Cory on the ground. I think Cory's tough. He's been there. Yes, Cory got finished by Aljamain Sterling, but, Aljamain Sterling's grappling is just kind of second to none. It's one of those things. So I feel like he could get the rear naked choke. If it is a finish, it's probably a rear naked choke from getting his back. But like the thing is, when they get in the wrestling department, Cory Sandhagen being so long and kind of skinnier from that weight class, it's gonna lead to him getting controlled more like easily. Like if he cinches in that backpack, it's over. Like he's not getting out of there for the whole round. So it's just like I feel like his long limbs might like be to his demise in the wrestling exchanges. So like if Umar grabs his legs, it's gonna be a lot easier to like throw him around. So we'll see. But I do think Umar Nurmagomedov's going to pull off the win. And I do think Umar's going to get the title shot after this. And Umar's really good. I've been telling everyone for the longest time, Umar's no joke. He's one of the best on the planet. And he's going to prove it against the Cory Sandhagen in the fight this Saturday. All right, guys, that's it for me. That's my predictions. Let me know what y'all think down below, who y'all think you got winning. But if y'all have any sense and y'all know, like, I'm the best at predicting, y'all just cash this in as one big parlay and make money and just say thank you, Kenny, afterwards. That's all I want. I thank you. But that's it for me, though. God bless. 2, 3.